This is the Louie Tee Network. The journey is long, and nobody said it was going to be easy. But all we got is us.
You have any quarterback news for
all
us?
that believe.
Yes, we do have
Is
news.
us.
We have announced that Kirk Cousins will be the starter for 2015 moving forward. And I think all three quarterbacks should be commended for their efforts, their willingness to get better. But when it's all said and done, after all the film that we've gone through, all the off-season activity, all the training camp footage, we feel like at this time, Kirk Cousins gives us the best chance to win, and that's where we're going.
When you say for 2015, does that mean barring?
It's Kirk's team. It's Kirk's team. It's Kirk's team. It's Kirk's team.
Welcome all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. If I seem a little jubilant today, that's because I am. Redskins fans, celebrate! Okay? As my old high school coach used to say, celebrate! Everybody get excited. Even if you're a Robert Griffin III fan and you wanted to see this man start, you need to celebrate too. And I'm telling you right now, you'll be much better off because of it. You may not see it now, and look, we all family, whether you are Team Robert Griffin III or you Team Kirk Cousins, doesn't matter. We all family, and this may divide us for now, but I'm here to tell you, and I want to address the Redskins fans first before I even jump into this, because some of you guys, I'm not happy with you right now, how you're conducting yourself. I know some of you were Team Robert Griffin III, you wanted to see him succeed, as most of us did. Hell, after that Cleveland preseason game, I felt like, why can't we make this work? We can do this. I saw improvements. And then I saw the old Robert Griffin III peek his head back out against Detroit, and I can't take it anymore. So I felt totally different after the Detroit game. It took me back to last season where we got shut out by St. Louis, when we looked lethargic and anemic on offense versus San Francisco and Tampa Bay. I don't want to go back there again. And that's where Robert was going to take us. So I didn't want to do that again. So understand where I'm coming from as a Redskins fan. But what I'm disappointed with is how some of you were rooting for Robert just 2 weeks ago, even a week ago, okay, against Detroit. And now you want him off the team. That I can't get with, okay? And I understand the logic behind him not being on the team because he's going to be a distraction. I understand that. I don't think that you go from 0 to 100 that damn quick, okay? You don't go from being a Robert Griffin III supporter and wanting him on this roster and then saying, get rid of him, trade him, release him, do whatever you gotta do. I'm not a big fan of that, okay? I want the guy still on this team, and I think he still needs to be here. And when they decide that it's time to part ways with him, whether it's via trade, I don't think releasing him, outright releasing him is the answer. Hasn't been clear for the concussion protocol anyhow, so even for all of you out there saying just release him, I don't even think that's on the table right now because he hasn't been medically cleared. And if you release him while he's quote-unquote concussed and injured, Redskins are on the hook for $16 million next year. So that's not even an option right now. Now, if he's on the roster week 1, which I don't see any way he's not unless he's traded for, then, because I don't see the Redskins releasing him. So you can get that out of your mind right now. Because if he's on the roster week 1, he's guaranteed his salary this year. I understand the premise of not wanting the distraction. Robert Griffin III is a walking distraction. I get it. However, I don't think he deserves to be treated like garbage and thrown out on the side of the curb because he's no longer the starting quarterback. I think there's a way to go about this. And I feel like he's still an asset, okay? Worst come to worst, get something. I don't give a damn if it's a 7th round pick. We gave up 2 first rounders for this dude. I want something in return for this guy. So for you out there saying, just get rid of him, I don't agree with that. I don't like that sentiment, and I'm here to tell you, you're flat out wrong about that. With that being said, we all family, okay? And whether you're on that side of the fence or this side of the fence, we all here. When the games start, we all right here meeting in the middle. So I'm here to squash all of that beef. For those of you out there frustrated today about Robert Griffin III no longer being a starting quarterback, you're going to reap the benefits of it like all of us. So even though you're mad today, you will be excited about this news in about, call it a month and a half. I'll give you that much. But let's get to this situation, because how did we get here? This is a very convoluted situation. The fact that, and look, I want to pat myself because you know I love to be right. I love being right. It ain't nothing better than being right. So let me go ahead and take an opportunity to pat myself on the back, because I called all of this stuff that just occurred over the last 72 to 96 hours. Okay, I said first things first, Redskins have some tough decisions to make. I call them TDs, tough decisions. They had some TDs to make, okay? You had to know that if Robert Griffin III started that third preseason game versus Baltimore, then he was going to end up starting the season, whether he struggled or not. Now, I said that they had a tough decision to make, and I said, use the concussion, okay? I don't know if Robert has a concussion or not. I don't care. Use the concussion excuse as a way to sit him down and give Kirk the start. Now, what did they do? They used the concussion excuse to start Kirk over Robert and sit Robert down. Now, I'm going to say this much. I don't know how we got to the point that Robert wasn't cleared to play, because all week long, all the signs pointed to Robert Griffin III starting in that third preseason game versus the Baltimore Ravens. The independent neurologist had cleared him. He had been practicing all week. I don't know how he got to the point where all of a sudden he wasn't cleared and the independent neurologist said he wasn't ready and he couldn't go. I don't know how we got there. I don't care how we got there. All I wanted to see was number 8 under center taking first team reps versus the Baltimore Ravens defense, and I got that. What was the other part of that equation? I told Kirk, and like my old high school coach used to say to me, son, be ready. I said, Kirk, be ready for this opportunity. Hey, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to go, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better go. You better go, Kirk. And Kirk said, I'm ready, man. I've been waiting for this opportunity. Kirk seized the moment. He threw that interception, and I don't think the situation could have played itself out any better. Throws the interception on the first possession, okay? What does that do? It lands Kirk in a familiar situation. Adversity, something that he did not handle well a season ago, okay? Adversity on the first possession of the game. What does Kirk do? Comes back in the game, takes us right down the field. 4th and 1, Redskins don't pick it up, but he took us down the field, okay? Get the football back again. Kirk takes us down the field, touchdown. What does he do? 2-minute warning. I haven't seen a 2-minute drill that clean since the 2012 season when we won the division. That was a thing of beauty, that 2-minute drill was before halftime. Ends up being a 1-yard touchdown run by Chris Thompson. We take the lead 14-13. Masterful performance by Kirk Cousins. I said, job well done, Kirk. Hey, salute, my man, salute. So I gave Kirk the thumbs up for what he did, because I asked him to be ready and he was. So then I said, Redskins have more tough decisions. I told you, my exact words were, if the Redskins don't make the right decisions over the next few weeks, we could be staring at a 4-12 season. Another, okay? So what they did was they went back, they put the tape on and said, damn, Kirk looked good out there. Kirk ran a 2-minute. Kirk went through his progressions. That same offensive line that we called garbage a week ago, of course, minus Trent Williams, but no excuses, okay? No excuses. I'm a no excuses guy. No excuses, okay? That same offensive line that everybody said was garbage, how many sacks they give up? I'll wait. 0! Big donut, none. You know why? Because Kirk can maneuver and manipulate the pocket. Robert fails to do that. So there's a lot of different things going on here. There's a lot of different storylines playing themselves out. All I know is that if we want to have a chance to have a competitive season, everybody's laughing at us right now. I don't know, because sometimes when you're in the middle of something like this, you don't really know what the outward appearance is of your team. But I'm here to tell you, because I can take a step back and assess the situation and then step back in and talk to all of you guys out there. And I'm here to tell you, we're the laughing stock of the league right now. Everybody thinks we're dysfunctional. They're laughing at us right now. We don't know what we're doing. Our organization is in turmoil. This is a mess. Robert Griffin III needs to be rescued from this situation. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, whatever, all right? All I know is we're a much better football team than everybody's giving us credit for. And with Kirk Cousins under center, we are a competitive football team. Are we going to win the division? No, okay? Are we winning 10 games? Probably not. But I'll tell you this much. We're going to be a competitive team all season long. And you keep hearing people say this. It's echoing over. And I know you want to discount Mike Shanahan because he's disgruntled and he doesn't like Robert Griffin III. Fine. I don't have a problem with you feeling that way. But Mike said Kirk Cousins is going to be an NFL starter and a damn good one. Santana Moss said that. Same thing Santana Moss said last year. Kirk Cousins is going to be a damn good quarterback. These players like Kirk Cousins. You say what you want about Robert Griffin III had this job handed to him. He did not earn this job. Kirk Cousins earned this job. Kirk Cousins has earned the respect of the players in this locker room. Do you see how they rally around Kirk? When they were walking off, it's little things that I pay attention to. See, I don't watch the game the same way that everybody else watches the game. I see different things. You may be watching this, I'm watching that, and I'm watching the same thing you watching, all at the same time. And so, what I saw as they're walking off the field, did you see him and Trent Williams interacting with each other? As they're walking off the field, Kirk's hyped. Kirk's getting hyped. Trent's like, yeah, Kirk, yeah. As they're walking to the locker room for halftime, you don't get that same interaction with Robert Griffin III. You know why? Because Robert Griffin III isn't as respected in the locker room as Kirk Cousins. I'm going next level on you, okay? But we're not here to talk about that. Where this whole thing went wrong, where this Robert Griffin III marriage went wrong was when Pop stepped in, and everybody wants to blame the Shanahan injury. Look, first and foremost, when a player tells you, Coach, I can go, what do you do? What do you do when the doctor says, hey, he's fine, if he wants to go back in, it's his choice, and the player comes to you and says, Coach, I can go, put me back in the game. What do you do? What do you do? Okay, all Mike Shanahan did was listen to the player. If he didn't put Robert Griffin III back in the game, we lose, and Robert said, I told Coach I could go back in, what would we have done? Crucified Mike. We would have hung him out to dry, okay? Now, he puts him back in, tears the ACL, MCL, and every other LCL you can think of, and we all crucify Mike anyway. He was in a damned position. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. All right? I would have done the same thing, and so would you, if Robert came to me and said, hey, I'm ready to go, put me back in. Remember what happened when Mike didn't allow him to play against Cleveland and Kirk went and lit it up, and what Robert did at the press conference after that in 2012? Robert went to the press conference and said, I was ready to go. I don't know why Coach didn't put me in the game. Started whining like a little baby. So you know what would have happened if Mike didn't put him in the game. So that wasn't where the relationship was strained and where everything went wrong. Where everything went wrong was during the rehabilitation process when RG2 got in RG3's ear and told him, running quarterbacks are losers. Show me a running quarterback, I'll show you a loser. Does Peyton Manning run? Does Tom Brady run? Does Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, do they run? And Robert said, nah, you right, Dad, they don't run. So you know what I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go tell Coach Shanahan, I don't wanna run the 50 series no more. I don't wanna run read option no more. I don't wanna run naked bootlegs. I don't wanna run none of that other stuff that you do because of my talents, my special God-given talent. I don't wanna do that stuff no more. I want to do the pocket stuff. I want to look like Aaron Rodgers. I want to look like Tom Brady. I want to look like Peyton Manning. I want to operate like them. So Mike said, okay, that's not who you are. You're not built like that. You're running off of a gateway processor, okay? Your processor is a gateway processor. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, they're working off of an Apple, an Intel processor. They process information faster than you do. You can't do what they do. He said, I still want to do it, Coach. Mike tried it. He failed. That's where Mike went wrong. Mike was gone. Okay, fine. So now you want to blame Jay Gruden for the mess. I love Jay Gruden. Some of you out there can't stand Jay Gruden. You think he set Robert up. This isn't a situation where he perpetrated this. He didn't set Robert up. Robert set himself up. He doesn't want to do the things that made him successful in his rookie season. He stopped wanting to be the guy that made him successful in this league, and he wanted to be something else. That was going to happen over time, but he tried to rush the process. Mike Shanahan, when he convinced Dan Snyder, who was not on board with Robert Griffin III initially because of what we would have had to give up to get him. He convinced him, he said, hey, me and Kyle, we're going to get this kid to where he needs to be. It's going to take time, but we're going to devise a scheme to change up what we do in the meantime to make him successful day one, but he'll become the passer that we want him to be over time. Robert decided he wanted to fast forward that process about 4 years, and so your end result is this guy has not been the same quarterback since, and he's not where he should be at this point in his career. You can blame injuries, you can blame him not wanting to do some of the things that he should have been doing. You can blame the number of coaches and coordinators he's had throughout his career. You can even blame some of the dysfunction that's going on in the organization. But what you can't blame is everyone around him for his misgivings, for him not wanting to do the things that made him a successful quarterback in his rookie season. And so that's how we got here. Not because of the injury, not because of Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan, but because Robert Griffin III didn't want to be the guy that we drafted him to be. He wanted to be something else, something that he's not. And so that's how we've gotten to this point. And Kirk Cousins was drafted in that same year. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to get out of here. Kirk Cousins, okay? Kirk Cousins is the type of guy that you let him walk away, and this is his last year on his deal. Remember, him and Robert drafted in the same draft, okay? Only reason Robert has another year after this is because he was a first-round pick. So you can use that fifth-year option on a quarterback and opt into that, and now you got that quarterback for an extra year. With Kirk, third-round pick, you don't get an extra year for him. It's 4 years, and he's up for a new contract. This is his last year. He's the type of guy that we don't give an opportunity to. We let him go to Cleveland, we let him go to New York, to the Jets, and Kirk Cousins becomes a star. And then he looks back at us and he laughs and says, hey, I gave you every opportunity to put me in the game and give me a chance, you didn't want to do it. All I'm saying is we got to find out what Kirk Cousins is. And for the first time in his NFL career, he's heard the words uttered, Kirk, it's your team.
It's Kirk's team.
This is Kirk's team. Never has he heard those words uttered at the NFL level. It was his team at Michigan State. But ever since he stepped foot into the National Football League, it's been Robert's team. And he's echoed those sentiments. He's always said, oh, it's Robert's team. I'm just filling in, keeping the ship steady until Robert comes back. That's been the company line for Kirk Cousins since he set foot here. But all of that changed this summer. Kirk Cousins said, I'm ready to play. This is my team. I'm ready to assume the controls and be Captain Kirk, okay? And when he talked after that Detroit Lions game, they asked him, do you feel like you've done enough to be the starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins? Kirk Cousins said, you know what? It's not my decision to make, but I'll tell you what, they can put on the tape, they can watch the tape, they can make a decision. All I can do is go out and do what I can do. And what that said to me for the first time, Kirk didn't give me that company line. Kirk didn't say, hey, yeah, this is just Robert's team. He had an unfortunate night, had to leave the game, but this is Robert's team. Colt McCoy's still giving out that company line. You know why? He's got to, because he's Colt McCoy, all right? He's the third stringer. Kirk Cousins said, I'm ready for my turn. I earned my turn. Nobody gave me nothing. Unlike Robert Griffin III, who they gave the job to. They coddled him. They wanted him to feel like the infrastructure around him and this was an environment conducive for him being successful. That's why they picked up the option. That's why they named him the starter. They wanted him to have confidence, something that he's lacked since 2012. Well, it didn't work. He's not any better than he was last year or the year before that. And so what we've come to the realization is that Robert Griffin III is not an NFL pocket passer. He cannot do the things that it takes. And you're either born with some of these qualities. Some of these are innate, okay? There's certain things you can get better at, you know, shortening up your release or, you know, working on your footwork. You can clean those things up. What you can't fix is pocket feel, pocket awareness, the ability to slide and create more time. The simple things, okay? Being a quarterback. You can't teach a guy to be a quarterback. You're either a quarterback or you're not. Robert Griffin III is a prime example of a guy that is a track athlete that played quarterback, not a quarterback with track-like qualities. He got caught up in the wash. We got caught up in the wash. It's unfortunate because we all got to see how talented this kid was, is, and could have been in 2012. But he didn't want to play the style of football that was going to allow him to continue to win, but also allow him to continue to mature as a quarterback mentally and allow him to make the game slow down and allow him to get some of the qualities that he needed to become an NFL pocket passer. And so, because of that, Kirk Cousins is the guy. I'm Team Captain Kirk. I told you that a week ago. I haven't changed. Redskins fans, rejoice. This is a big moment for us because if Kirk Cousins isn't the guy, guess what? Robert isn't the guy. Kirk isn't the guy. At least we exhausted both of those options. We can go get us a quarterback. If neither one of these guys are the guy, and we already know one isn't the guy, we don't know about Kirk because we've never given him a chance without looking over his shoulder. If Kirk isn't the guy, we're going to be bad anyway. So guess what we'll be able to do next year? We'll be able to get a quarterback, okay? So we just needed to figure out if Kirk Cousins could be the guy or not. And this is the way to go about it. Give him an opportunity to be the guy, move RG3 out of the way, and allow Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback of this team definitively. There's nothing worse. And if you've ever played any kind of sports, I don't care if it's rec ball, JV, high school, whatever. If you've ever played basketball, there's nothing worse than coming off the bench and looking over at the scores table because you just made a mistake and hoping that that coach didn't have a quick hook for you. I remember I was one of those guys, I was a 3-and-D guy, okay, in high school. And if I made a mistake, I would look over at their scores table. If I seen a guy kneeling down at the scores table, I'm thinking to myself, damn, and you go in the game thinking that way, I can't make a mistake, I can't take a bad shot because if I don't make it, I'm coming out the game. You start pressing, you start making decisions that you normally wouldn't do because you're operating under circumstances that aren't conducive to being successful. And that's what Kirk Cousins was operating in Washington under. Circumstances that weren't conducive to being successful because when he made a mistake, he would look over his shoulder at that scores table and see Robert Griffin III kneeling down. This is Robert's team. This is Robert's team. If I don't perform well enough, they're going to take me out and put him back in when he's healthy. So I got to make a play to make up for the mistake that I just made. And you know what he did? He compounded the matter, exacerbated the mistake that he already made by making another one because he wanted to make up for the mistake that he made earlier in the game. When plays aren't there, but you try to make a play anyway, guess what happens? Turnovers. That's what happened to Kirk Cousins last year. He didn't have to worry about that now. It's his team, and he's got an opportunity to just go out there and let it loose, man. Go watch the Philadelphia game from last year. I'm not going to tell y'all that again. Go watch that game. That's the one that told me Kirk Cousins is a goddamn NFL quarterback, and a damn good one. When that man's on, he's cerebral, okay? Don't forget, we scored 41 against Jacksonville. Don't forget, the next week, Kirk threw for over 400 yards, and we put up 30 in that game against Philadelphia. And if not for the interception at the end, if not for Kyle Forbath missing that field goal, we win that football game. If not for the special teams giving up a touchdown on a kickoff return, we win that game. Kirk Cousins played out of his mind. That's the guy that I think could be our quarterback for years to come. I could be wrong, but damn it, I want to find out, and so do you. I am a Redskins fan, actually. In burgundy and gold. My Redskin spirit will never die. My Redskin spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our goddamn beloved Redskins. I'm excited. I'm pumped for this season. Look, I don't know what this season holds for us. But I tell you one thing, if Robert Griffin III was our quarterback, I would not be this excited about what the future holds for this team in 2015, 2016. Just a week ago, I watched my man BFG put out a black video. The man was at a low point in the season, and we in the preseason. He was at a low point. People were feeling dejected about this team. You know what the common denominator was? Robert Griffin III as the starting quarterback. You put Kirk Cousins in, and things change. We scored 31 unanswered points against the Baltimore Ravens. Things change. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. See you in a bit. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at @InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. The Redskins Report.